What's up, everybody? Welcome, Squad Squad, and welcome fans of our channels. And we are in SHOT Show, losing our minds because it's the end of the show, and well, it's the end of the show. So thank you, everyone, for coming in here. If you missed our stream yesterday, well, you missed our stream yesterday when I drove. These guys are staying in an Airbnb, and I drove there to surprise them, but it was a horrible surprise because these people are subscribed to the channel and they got a notification that I was about to drop them. But it was a good time nevertheless. But I wanted to have a more serious live stream so we can kind of talk about SHOT Show, what we like, and answer a lot of the questions that are popping up across your social media accounts and the products that we saw and everything going on. We will keep this just to an hour because we are all freaking hungry. And of course, we don't want to spoil a lot of surprises. So for those not familiar, let's start this way. Introduce yourselves.
Steven with Bullets for Bucks YouTube channel. Also have a Facebook page and Instagram. Basically do reviews on optics, rifles, and create hunting content. So that's who I am.
Mr. Canadian.
I'm Alex with Affordable Optics and Rifle Reviews, also potentially to be renamed Unaffordable Optics and Rifle Reviews based on popular demand. I'd say, today, well, not today, but all week, we were pretty much looking for coverage on precision rifles and SHOT Show and optics. So the new stuff, what they got, like what are they bringing more to the market that isn't already there?
Okay. You all know me, Derek. Go ahead.
I'm Derek. I'm from Northwest Guns. You can catch me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and over at Odyssey.
All right. So the first thing we're already discussing is this man's physique. Holy cow, Portable Optics looks like he's built like a dang MMA fighter. I never noticed that in his videos. Yes. And that was also my surprise. So Saturday and Sunday night we were staying together. I flew in a couple hours later and Alex was already in bed. I walk in, I'm like, who's this dude in the room? Because he just
Waiting for you.
Waiting for me. Okay, we're not going to go down that road. We've had the past 2 days, we had those conversations, and no, it wasn't good.
Nothing weird about it.
Nothing at all. But I also do know that he's starting to lose his voice because he's just such a hard worker. He went to so many booths, talked so much, and then he's almost done.
The way you're saying it, it sounds like that's not true, but that's actually true. I'm not sure if it's coming across as sarcasm, but it's not. It's not like a lie. It's 100% true.
Well, the sarcasm was that apparently you also went to a certain party at SHOT Show, and
so that's another really interesting thing. There is a secret society of underground parties for SHOT Show.
But I didn't sure take.
Yep, I wasn't there either. I'm safe.
okay. So what I will say is that maybe somehow there is a video that might bring his channel down, or it will actually might be even exploded because there's going to be certain demographics that really want to see this bulk physique at its best. So I'll leave it up to him, but maybe Alex will put it up on his OnlyFans account when he opens it up.
We got to make money, don't we?
Well,
YouTube isn't a great source of income.
Well, obviously, you guys know YouTube
That channel.
Well, you guys know obviously that YouTube is demonetizing every video, quote unquote. So all of us are going to start our OnlyFans accounts, and you'll be able to see us strip, and
You got to pay for the skin.
You can catch me at Big Daddy 84.
Keeping this professional.
we are okay. So let's get back to the point.
That just totally derailed.
Right, so I have a number of questions prepared. Simply, I mean, I've been going to SHOT Show for about 10 years now. It's been a couple of years for Alex, and we have a couple of first-timers here. I think we're all really, really glad we came, but I think what I want to know and what the viewers want to know is kind of like your experience, like your expectations going into SHOT Show and your impressions, and did it come up with it? So I guess, Stephen, go ahead. I mean, it's your first time here. I know for the past couple of years I've been trying to talk you into going to SHOT Show, almost like to like kick you off of the cliff, and then you came.
Well, yeah, I mean, last year I wouldn't have been able to come because of my job that I had at the time, but and then it got canceled, unfortunately, anyway. But yeah, I'm glad I came. As far as expectations, it was actually kind of what I expected, but just on a bigger scale than what I expected. So there's, it's such a large scale with so many vendors, and I didn't quite expect that much. Saw lots of awesome products. Got lots of awesome footage and videos that are going to be coming out on the channel. So made a lot of good connections and saw cool stuff. I don't. What else should I talk about?
Was it worth it?
Yeah, it's worth it. I mean, from a business standpoint, it's worth it to make the connections with companies, and then worth it to see products, basically before the rest of the public gets to see them, so I can bring that to you guys, so that you can enjoy it as well. So yeah, absolutely worth it.
Yeah. Derek?
Okay, so this is my first year going to SHOT Show. Was it worth it? Yes. From multiple from a content creator, for going there and experiencing what SHOT Show really is, and it's overwhelming. It really is when you get in there.
Why was it overwhelming?
Because when you get just so much stuff and people you meet and everything. So
I'd say my first year was really overwhelming too. Like you get there, I mean, Max brought me my first year like a child. Yeah, I held his hand and he dragged me around to the booths that he found interesting, and I'm like, suppressors, who really cares about these things? Anyway, so he showed me around the first time, showed me a bit of the ropes, how you like the companies and that kind of thing. And this year was my first year like flying solo, like like my own bird, The peacock, I got wings.
Such philosophical talk.
I didn't feel like it was, like overkill or.
Did you not get lost? Did you get lost?
I did get lost, but I didn't feel overwhelmed.
But it wasn't overwhelming. Being lost is not overwhelming.
yes, we got lost with you. Remember that?
That was driving though. And,
that was fun. You're trying to
right. But that wasn't in the show.
So Steven now has to carry a rope on a little spool that he clips to his car, and then he walks away. He's not allowed to go further than 1,000 feet anymore from the speed.
But anyway,
And also, I'd say this year is also different because there was an additional 189,000 square feet of exhibit space that was added to the Caesars Forum.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more walking. Again, I don't even know how many miles a day we each walked, but it's like there's 3 or 4 different places just with different booths. The good news is, I would say this year is that, so last time, I keep calling it last year, but obviously last year there really wasn't the SHOT Show. So in 2020, we had, I think there was like 64,000 people who came to SHOT Show, and this year was only 40,000. But the biggest change was in the number of media who attended. So media, there was 2,600 registered media that went last SHOT Show. This SHOT Show is only 1,200.
Wow.
And we definitely saw that in the media room when we were there hanging out.
Yeah.
And I mean, one thing we didn't see is, I mean, you guys weren't there, you wouldn't know, but like Alex, so last time when we were in media room, you see the who's who of content creators. I mean, you saw Iraq that 8888, the whole team, a bunch of other people, and this year they were notably missing.
I was underwhelmed by the lack of basically celebrity people.
There was me. I was there the whole time.
Yeah, but you're not.
I'm
So,
actually kind of almost there.
I was a little bit. I expected to see way more big names in the guns and hunting industry than I actually saw. It didn't really bother me because that wasn't the primary reason I came. But it was
different if you were in the competition scene or the competitive area in the gun world, like I am. People that you meet, people that were there, you would understand.
Well, there was, I agree with, so going to this, I mean, there's definitely a lot less bigger name celebrities, and so Derek, you come from the competition side of it, and I would say even on the competition side of it, I did not see a lot of the big handgun shooters. There were some, but there's definitely less than last time.
No, I'm here with you on handgun shooters, but there was big name rifle shooters there.
Correct, some, but I don't, definitely not as much as.
It was a Canadian, but he's a fairly big rifle shooter. You might have met him.
Yeah. He's right here. He's right here, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let's move on. So we all went to Media Day at the range. So the day before SHOT Show actually starts, on a Monday, we went out to the range, and we were able to play with some of the new guns. What was your favorite? Kind of what you focus on, if there's anything in particular? I guess who knows? Who wants to go? Who wants to start?
So I mean, my main interest is precision rifles. I checked out KDX Defense had their precision rifles up there, and I mean, I've been excited to people want to try for a long time. But they were really nice and not disappointed whatsoever. They did announce other precision rifles such as the Savage Straight Pull. Well, not sorry, Savage Impulse, which is the name of the model that they previously had just for like hunting last year, and this year they put it in a 110. No, sorry, MDT ACC chassis. So now your precision rifle, so as opposed to flinging your bolt, you're just straight pull. And the idea behind that is obviously faster reloads. And I'm going to give one of those a try. And it was accurate, really nice and accurate. I think we all agree Savage always gets accuracy. It was a really sandy day and like kind of windy, so I mean it wasn't necessarily the smoothest operating. At the end of the day, it might be what it is. And there's also the Bushmaster. Do you guys have to try both of those guns?
Yeah.
No, I think it's
Okay.
I tried one, I think.
Which one did you try? Savage?
Well, I tried the Savage.
What did you think? Did you think it was smooth or did you think it was like a little bit rough?
I think it's really innovative. I mean,
Okay, so what are you talking about? You're talking about the Bushmaster or talking about
No, we're going
Savage?
to talk about the Savage.
Okay, we're talking
So the Savage, the Savage Impulse was, I was familiar with the Hind SR30, which is made in Europe, and that Savage is based after that. It has like a ball bearing locking lugs on the action. And so I really was interested in actually seeing it in person. I've wanted one since it came out, but I wasn't able to get my hands on one. So to actually shoot it and see it was good. It ran good for me. But then some other people tried after me, and they weren't used to how long and how hard you have to push it forward to lock it. Because I don't know how to explain exactly, but basically it has a pin down the middle and it pushes pressure on those ball bearings and makes them come out and locks them in place so that they lock into the receiver area. So that and it's because they're spherical, it actually has more strength than regular locking lugs on a regular bolt, like your typical like a 2 or 3 lug bolt.
Yeah.
So really enjoyed shooting that. Just I'll throw in there. As far as something I saw that is separate from that is Huskma Optics has a scope with a bubble level inside the scope, which is something I've never seen. And it just always seems like it should be there. But as far as I know, they're the only ones doing that. At least that's what I'm aware of.
Basically, yes. The Sig Tango Scopes and the Sig BDX, they have an electronic level feature in there. And this one, with the newer ones, you can actually set the precision as to what percentage. But physical one, as far as I know, that was the first one that was there.
Yeah, so they had some pretty impressive stuff, and from like a hunting standpoint, some really good optics. And the fact that it's not relying on like a battery or something is appealing to somebody maybe hunting for long periods of time. But that bubble level inside there was it was really cool. It went right in like the bottom of like less than the quarter, I would say, of your view. So that was pretty cool.
So I'm not saying scope. I mean, it was actually interesting. The image quality was really good. It was Japanese. It was built by the same OEM as a lot of other high-end scopes. The only thing that basically I found is that sometimes that bubble level, I love the reliability of it, that it's always going to be there. What I wasn't crazy about is that it wasn't that clear to see at times, or if you move a little bit, it was going to be a little bit more difficult to see. As much as I hate electronics, I would almost rather have it be like little arrows or little things that are going to be there.
I liked it the way it was.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I kind of like the way it was.
Personal preference, I guess. Maybe,
Yeah. So going back to the Impulse, so this is also the first time that I shot the Savage Impulse, and honestly, I was underwhelmed. So, and the big thing about Media Day and why I love Media Day is because, Alex has pointed out, it's sandy out there. It's a rough environment. And if you want to test a gun to see how well it'll work, you take it to Media Day at the range and see if it's still going to hold up and if it's still going to be firing at the end of the day. As we know, there were a lot of guns that towards the end of the day were not working. There are some guns that had broken extractors. There are some guns that basically just ended up breaking. I don't know specifically why, but
Broken trigger springs,
things like that. Now, on the Savage Impulse particularly, and talking to a couple other people who are more experienced with those type of actions, they basically said that it was just the action, but that you shouldn't have to, like, the rep that was there with the Impulse is like, oh, you got to really work the bolt slam it all the way out and then slam it all the way in, even though apparently with others you don't necessarily have to. It kind of like defeats the purpose. But I was reviewing my footage. I also have Derek's footage when he was shooting it. And I'm talking, I think a couple of you mentioned that about 80% of the time, it wouldn't eject the cartridge out. It would kind of like extract it, it would pull it out of the chamber, but it wouldn't fly out, which kind of like,
I mean, at this price, I mean, what was it about? I think 2,600 was the MSRP to go in for. And I think at that price, there should be nothing left.
26.
Yeah.
Oh,
And 26. So the regular Savage Elite Precision is 21.95.
Yeah.
And then this
So
one
you're talking about the
Impulse.
impulse that's in the chassis. And the regular impulse is a lot cheaper than that.
Yeah,
I think
it's
it's
like-
below 2,000.
It's like 18,
Yeah.
like 17 something.
But like, yeah, the
Not
extract
much.
between
Wow.
14 and
The-
18.
what they tried to do is take, what's popular in Europe, which is the straight bolt actions, and they tried to make it really cheap and affordable. And it sounds like they're having some issues. But I think the concept is good. And if you look at like the reviews on the Hound where Secret work them, I obviously haven't played with them because they're kind of rare, very expensive. But those, from what I can view on the internet, people that review them, they're very smooth and easy to operate. So my guess is that it's Savage that needs to refine that, not necessarily the concept that's wrong.
I would have liked to see that gun fresh out the box in the morning, so I can see just how fast I can pump rounds down range, as opposed to like I pretty much got it like right at the end of the day, and I'm like, all right, I want to go check the precision rifle, and yeah, it was really dusty.
Did you get any comments on that?
Oh, yeah. So what I was going to say, so on the Savage Impulse, and Derek's over here, Joe. I know a bunch of you are saying, well, why can't you guys go get one? So we've all worked with Savage, and the answer is because none of us write for a big magazine. We're all waiting for one. It probably will take a year or so in order to get that rifle.
Well, I'm gonna say one thing about Savage Impulse. The concept is great, but when you're going from a traditional bolt action and you jump onto the impulse, you're like, it's a little overwhelming. Because you're not, it's a learning curve because you're gonna pull back instead of up and back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the concept is great, and I said this a year ago on one of the live streams when the Impulse came out on Virtual SHOT Show that Slab and myself did, I'm like, watch, somebody's going to take this, they're going to put it into a chassis, it's going to be a precision rifle, and it's going to be in the PRS scene. It is over in Europe and Russia and everything, and it does really well. I think maybe there needs to be a little more refinement to this action, because there still is, to me, it's still a beta action. I mean, it's only been out for a year.
So what I
If it's high.
So what I would say, if you like the straight bolt, I think there's a better gun already out that was introduced today, and you shot it.
What?
Yeah, you said you did.
Oh, so I know what you're referring to. Yeah.
What are we talking about?
The Bushmaster.
Oh,
Yeah, the BA-30. Because that gun, even though it's basically brand new, there was not one issue with it.
You know what? I didn't even go.
no, I had tons of issues with it.
Okay.
I had tons of issues with it at SHOT Show.
too.
It was so they constantly had to lube it up. They had to actually go in the back to get me another one, and it kept sticking, and I couldn't even run the action at all. So
Are you talking about at the show or
yeah,
at the range?
at the show, not at the range. They
Okay.
had tons of issues with it running it.
Okay, so the one at the show,
They had two, both of them stuck.
yes, but also those ones, the bolt and the bolt handle on them are prototype. So that's not what's going to be final production.
Right. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, I'll try to include a link if they have it out. So Bushmaster introduced, what are we calling it? It's a
The BA-30.
It's a BA-30, but like what type of action? It's like a spring assist.
Bolt
Yeah.
back.
It's like they use the both have like an AR
Mhm.
style, and it's just physically operated.
Yep.
It's essentially what it is. And there's other companies out there that have done that already. But and it looks innovative. I have nothing against it. I just had problems operating it while I was there. But it doesn't mean that they're not going to refine it and it's going to be fine. I do think that the way the Savage locks is probably actually better, but obviously there was problems with that as well. So I think that the concept for us is like awkward because we're so used to operating a regular bolt action, but in reality it's simpler and should be easier, but because we have like training the opposite way, switching over like feels weird.
Okay. Now, Dirk, did you shoot that gun or no?
No, I did not
Okay.
shoot the Bushmaster, but I do have one coming in for review.
Okay.
Nice. I forgot to go talk to them at the show to ask for a TV.
It's okay.
And it's the one thing that now I'm thinking like, damn, of the precision rifles that are coming out, I missed them. I think I hit everybody else, but
You are the star, so
you know,
you should be able to just give him a call.
Walt sitting there and be like, let's go, load up the truck. I'm off.
Right, guys, let me know if on your stream it's also choppy. I don't know if it's our laptop and the Wi-Fi here, in which case we'll go to sell. If not, then we will continue. Okay, actually, I think it's my laptop that just basically disconnected, but we should still be on.
Is my head?
So actually, I'm going to do this.
Figure it.
Yes, it is.
Is it good? We're good.
Okay, so it's just okay. It's my laptop here that is okay.
All right.
That is fine on that side the entire time. So my apologies, guys. All right. So beyond those media date guns, what did you? I guess the show itself. What did you find? Like, I really, really need this. I guess either gun or product or anything else.
Who's going to start?
The VPD,
The DRD.
DRD, 338 Lapua rifle.
Yes.
Yes, that was so much
What
fun.
is that?
Okay, so DRD is we're part of Otis, and about 3 years ago, they launched a semi-auto 338 Lafayette Magnum AR. So basically, take the AR, they have the AR-15, AR-10, and then boom, one more. They have the 338. I mean, this gun, super soft shooting for a 338. That was like the biggest thing that stood out for me. But it's a semi-auto and 338.
Wow, what velocities were that one that they're getting on?
No, but it was a long ass barrel. I think it was like a 26-inch barrel or something like that.
Yes.
Now, Nemo Arms also made a 338 semi-auto. Actually, I'm sorry,
300 win mag.
300 win mag, but that one I actually saw in person that somebody actually bought. It was a little bit finicky. But as far as I know, and there were no issues at range day. At least when we shot it, there were no issues. And it's actually still reasonably priced, right around 6,000 or so. At 5,500, yeah. Because the Nemo Arms is significantly more expensive. Nemo Arms one is like 8,000 or 9,000 or something like that. And that DRD had a side charger and a quick barrel change as well, if you wanted to go that route.
Yes,
So,
you could fit it in a pack.
yeah, it's like it was a really, really, really cool gun.
If it wasn't on a cable, it would have gone in my pack.
Okay. Right, so there were questions before on 30ccW, which was the new caliber that Federal came out with. Am I the one with like shot it or?
I shot it.
Okay. All right, and
Hard
Nick
shot.
actually did too. Actually, Nick, you're going to sneak in here and kind of give us your feedback on here, because we have a differing point of view on this caliber. Now, as a
No, we're not. I'm not really big into the handgun scene.
no, go ahead, dude.
Just a little bit.
All right, so 30ccW, the reason why I'm happy it exists is because now you're not going to make fun of me for 45 gap, because I think that there's the ultimate solution in search of a problem, which is 30ccW. Shot it in the Smith & Wesson Shield, and basically recoil was exactly the same as 9mm. It felt exactly the same. Essentially, it's like a 32 ACP, just like bigger and longer.
So it's like a 7.62 Toka.
Kind of something like.
Well, the Russians had it right.
Yeah, but it was different. It was armor piercing. It was higher velocity. This is actually a very thin case. It's essentially.
I'm gonna argue if I'm right.
Oh my God.
All right, shut up.
He's baiting.
You guys want to say that this is 30ccW?
You can't have them anyway. So 30ccW, it's going to add capacity, but I don't like. My biggest worry is that if ammo is going to be available for it. Yeah,
You know what's cheap? 7.62 Tokarev.
not anymore.
So in Canada, it's still about $300 a thousand, which is the same price as about 9 mils. So
That's awesome. Nick, go ahead.
You saw
have
that
a
Toka
Toka,
Rev.
that's why. But yeah, I shot the 30s super carry. Very flat shooting. At 25 yards, I was able to hit the flipper on the side of the head at, and that was with the Shield Plus. Hit that, and it has. I felt the recoil was a little bit less than 9mm, especially because I was using it in such a small gun.
All right. There's some questions we are going to come back to. I really do want to cover the SHOT Show stuff. Another one that I saw earlier was the Aero Precision. So Aero Precision came out with so they had a prototype, I guess, of a chassis and a complete rifle, basically.
Yes. Yes.
So they're going to offer they're going to offer actions, barreled
action
chassis. Yeah. So they're going to offer all of those. They're basically saying about
$1,000 for the action.
Okay.
$1,000 for the chassis. They said the price is not set in stone, but that's what you're looking at. So you're looking at, I guess, about at least a $2,500 gun right there if you're going to buy the whole thing.
Aero Precision was trying to build a bolt action rifle platform that would be in the $2,500 instruction class.
Yeah.
For PRS. Or
actually, can you tell us? I'm not a competitive shooter. What are the class categories?
Okay, so
like for prices and like.
Okay, so for production class, it's anything 2,500 and under.
Okay.
And then there's open class.
And does that include your scope, or is that just for the rifle?
That's just rifle.
Just the rifle. Okay.
And then open class, it doesn't matter. It's whatever it is.
So there's two classes.
Yes.
Okay.
But in some matches there can be a lightweight class.
Okay.
Which will be deemed caliber, weight of the rifle, and stuff like that.
Okay.
So the question is really like, is it game changing?
I think there's other rifles around similarly priced. Is there not?
Yes.
I think Christensen Arms has something similarly priced now.
Christensen, Ruger Precision Custom Shop, Savage and Precision, MPA has a chassis. So, and I think
Fierce, I think, has something.
Fierce just released a new one. Actually, Stephen, did you go to Fierce and take a look at it or no?
Not that one. No.
Okay.
I took a look at their life hunting.
Let me just find my other models.
So it's another option that's going to be there for everybody. And
yeah,
I mean, it's not a bad. I thoroughly went back over and looked at it. You guys go check out one of my live streams over on Instagram. Actually, one morning I went over it and did it. The action's nice.
Smooth. You like to say it was smooth enough?
I think it was smooth enough. I mean, for a sub 1,000 custom action, I mean, would I say it's as good as my Killblaze? No.
How much is the Killblaze? Sorry.
The action, about 1,050.
Okay, so it's a bit more expensive.
I think basically most custom actions are kind of going to be in that like $900 to $1,200 range, because otherwise you're just not going to be competitive enough, and then people are really going to start asking, okay, well, why exactly am I paying that much more? Because I think even like the Mac Daddies,
The big
Divines,
the big port's 850, and that's the TLR3. But for what Aero Precision's trying to do, they're trying to make a sub $2,000 precision rifle for people to use.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. They have a big name in the AR world.
Yeah.
So they figured, hey, let's see if we can make a big.
And they can convert their AR boys into some of get into more precision rifle.
Yes.
I think that's a nice kind of bringing other people into the sport.
Yes. And that's what I think they're trying to do.
So speaking of changing customers and moving them from one category to another, since we all cover optics on here, there's been one company that some of us have worked with that used to sell basically entry-level scopes, and now we're asking for thousands of dollars for them. Actually, there are two that think about it. So the first one I'm thinking of is Black Hound.
Yeah.
And UTG is the other one.
So I can check out their scopes.
Okay. So Black Hound, they prided themselves as like the $300 to $400 scope, and now apparently they have. I didn't go check them out. Apparently they have $2,000 scopes now.
Yeah. Yeah. So they have. Well, and I don't remember the model number or the names, but they have basically their high-end, all Japanese glass, all Japanese scope. Then they have like a mid-range now that's between $1,000 and $2,000. That top line is actually above $2,000, at least MSRP, and then they have their like $500 line. The other ones, the first two lines of scopes that they sell are Chinese made, and then that top tier is all Japanese made. The Japanese stuff looks fantastic to me. The turrets were tactile, audible. They had, I think their one model had 110 minutes of elevation, so enough for ELR shooting. The other one had 90. For their 3 to 18, I think it was, had 110. Or no, it was
24 by 56 had 40 mils of adjustment.
So what is the okay? So we all have like shills here. So we have Mr. Howard, Mr. Tika, Mr. Ruger, Mr. Savage. Same.
Tikas are the best for the money. I mean,
Now
you
that'd
can
be
only-
really
but it's
No,
$1,000.
All right. Optic.
No, you brought the nature worms, and now the whoop ass is coming out.
All right. So, Mr.
Name it out.
Okay, Mr.
In the comments below. In the comments below, right where you think is the best
quality
bolt
receiver.
gun for 1,000.
Mr. Blackhound, so I know you've worked with Blackhound Scopes. I know Alex and I, we looked at him 2 years ago when we were here, and we kind of like sniffed him away, like, are like, all right, this is not anything better than anything else. But you actually gave the company a chance. You looked at it, and you've actually taken them out to longer distances.
Yes.
So what do you think about it?
So the new Evolve line is a nice mid-tier line. I think it's going to be giving people a nice scope for entry level sub 1,000. I think that's what they were like, between 8 and 1,000 for the new Evolve line, which is really reasonable. That puts you in a nice spot.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get into the Emerge line, which is the all Japanese.
Yeah.
And I will say, because I test evaluated the original prototype for that line.
Okay.
So they went back. They actually did listen to the 12 people that did do the evaluation and actually went back with the scope. So it is. I really like the scope. I think it's really nice. I'm not saying that as a shrill or anything like that, but what I'm saying is from a design point of view on it, the reticles are really nice. They actually did a really nice job on the reticles. They're crisp. They're clean. They're not too thick. The whole everything inside of it is completely usable. The turrets are actually really nice.
So you guys give your feedback and then they change that. That's
So,
amazing that they'll actually
like the turn indicator up on top, that was my idea. The interchange,
and it's not something you see very often.
no, and there's very few companies that are doing that. And
Well, I guess we're doing it. We just don't know about it.
yes,
Because, well, one of our friends, companies do go to him and he tells them what to do and what to change on them. We just never know about it. And it's one of those companies. So, we'll finish on Blackhound, then we'll talk about the Swamp Fox. I posted on Instagram the 40mm tube one. And there's a story with that. But go ahead, on Blackhound.
so with this line being in your 2,000 to 2,400 range, it's evolving. I think they want to try to evolve into another market, which I can understand. Being all Japanese made, like I said, the turrets were nice. The zero stop was nice on them. So I'm actually kind of excited to see where this is going to go.
Yeah. So the other one with that, and really the one that was like a WTF for me, was UTG. So UTG, the Chinese company, leapers known for crap, except the UTG Pro.
We're gonna say it.
They came out with the Integrix line of scopes. So there's 3 scopes, I mean, like 1 to 8, 3 to 12, and 3 to 18, or something like that. Yeah, 3 to 18. And those have an MSRP also of like from 1,500 to 1,800. Wow. So these scopes have Japanese front objective, German glass inside, and were assembled in Taiwan. So totally, and I looked through them. It was the last scopes that I looked through. Good field of view, finishes, it's alright. So 3 to 18 was nice. I didn't like the other two, the 1 to 2. Like the magnification adjustment ring was just super sloppy.
Yeah, the 2 12x44 they had, I would put that in the junk category.
I looked at them and played with them a little bit. I think they were definitely better than anything they've had previously in their line, right? UTG. I don't think they're probably worth the money they're saying they're worth, and I think they're gonna have a hard time selling them because they have that cloud holding over them, the UTG.
Yeah.
They're trying to do the right thing. I just don't know if it's enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, the quality wasn't quite to that price mark still. I do love the Recon 360 bipod that I have. I know some people have had problems with it, and I do like the Pro. I think it's like Recon Pro or something like that bipod. It's really nice. But yeah, time will tell.
Yeah. So there was one question that was a little bit earlier, which was, okay, if you're spending $2,000, why would you take the risk to go with a Blackhound or a UTG when you can get Track Toric, Athlon Cronus,
I don't
You
have
can get a loophole for $2,100. You can get a Mark V HG for $2,100.
Well, you're getting less with loophole. You're always paying a little more so you can get that quality control down a little bit better. Like
But I would.
next.
Okay, hold on. So are you telling me that this Blackhound and that UTG is as good as a loophole Mark V HD? Image quality, tracking, everything?
I mean, I don't know.
I do think with
I-
Loophole, you
time will tell with the black.
pay a little bit more for the name. I think they have some great products. Personally, I wouldn't pick them if I wasn't spending that much money. I think there's a lot of really competitive options actually out there around that price range. That Blackhound was really good, had some really good features, so I wouldn't necessarily throw it out. But would I probably take the risk? Probably not. If I was a person who was going to make that purchase once in my whole life, then yeah, I wouldn't do that. Me, from where I come from, yeah, I would try it because I come at it from a little different angle. But that was a really good scope, and I believe they have a very good warranty, if I recall correctly. Blackhound does, but yeah, there is a risk of a company without an established history going out of business because it does happen sometimes to companies, and then of course that warranty is not going to necessarily do you any good. So I would turn towards other places.
So, and to answer your question, I think at least 3 of you were promised copies of those scopes. So we'll wait for the complete review. I actually hope that you'll get copies. So I would kind of say to this is, on one hand, we all know that Blackhound does not have their own factory that's actually doing the scope for them. They went to a competent OEM in Japan,
Yes.
and they're going to be making it for them. So on that side, I would feel more comfortable with it. So it's somebody competent is making the scope, but it's Blackhound that you're still going to have to deal with for service issues. And then think of it this way. So I know you go and buy and sell optics all the time.
Yeah.
I generally, whenever I get them, I just end up keeping them. But if you go and spend, let's say, so the UTG is like $1,800 street MSRP. So street price, let's say, call it $1,500. The Blackhound, I guess, we're not going to be discounting. It's just going to be $1,899 or $1,999.
They're running anywhere between 19 and 24. It's
Wait, 19 to 2,400?
2,300.
Okay.
Plus, there's there's four different scopes in that line, and that are all Japanese.
So if you spend that money, so if 2,400, you're putting it square against the Loophole Mark V. Now, if you buy Blackhound, you buy Loophole Mark V HD, you decide.
Who buys the UTG?
Okay. Well, it's not affordable. Okay, Mr. Affordable is going to buy the affordable Taiwanese made UTG. And then 5 or 6 months later, you decide, you know what? I don't want the scope, and the scope is not right for me.
Yeah.
And you're going to sell it. Who's going to get the money back? Because I know if you list them in an auction, somebody's going to pay a premium for a loophole.
Yeah.
The Blackhound, then maybe the optics guys will know, hey, you know what? This is actually made by a competent OEM.
Yeah.
But, and especially the UTG, I mean, you're going to have to go on eBay on that and hope you're going to recover a little bit of money.
I think you're gonna lose like 50%.
The 2 reasons you wouldn't do it is for the reason you just said, resale value, and then the lack of history, knowing that this company is going to survive the next 10 to 20, 30 years, and you're going to be able to get your product repaired or replaced if something happens.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's not the warranty that they're offering. It's, can you trust them to stay in business long enough? I think that product is fantastic.
Yeah.
Initial impressions, but yeah, you're gonna go. Not on the UTG. UTG is not worth what they're saying, and I would never go with the UTG. Period. Okay, that's just not going to happen. But I mean, I would, right? But if you go Leupold, which I wouldn't because I do think you pay some for the name, and I personally don't actually like the Mark V that much.
Okay, so let's say Aplon Cronus, because we all know that the Cronus is the same OEM as the Blackhound. Let's say Cronus or Tractor. Okay, Tractor. Beautiful.
I'm not super good with Tract.
$1,700.
So you're saying would I rather go with Tract?
Yeah.
No, I don't know Tract like you do. I don't want to give a personal opinion. I don't know enough out there. But like as far as Athlon, maybe I would go with Athlon because they do have they've been around a little while now. They have a really good product. I think they have really good value per dollar. But Vortex wouldn't be out of the question. There's a lot of big players at that price range, and I think that you
know what? Burris XTR Pro, the XTR Pro, and it's right in that price point. It's backed by Burris, full lifetime warranty, no bullshit. And here's the thing: Burris is owned by Beretta. So they are going to be, I mean, we're not a huge player in it. I mean, they have full history and they would have to support it. But so they can't kind of say, because I don't want them actually to say them possibly ruin a relationship, but because I haven't worked with Blackhound, what I can tell you is I've tried to work with Blackhound in the past. They have a revolving door of people who are at the company, and they have a revolving, almost like every 2 months, they have a different idea of how they want to approach the market. When they came out, they were kind of almost going to do like a multi-level marketing plan on it to empower business owners, and now they're selling them on Amazon.
Yeah, so I do hope to actually work with them, but at the same time, I want to be completely transparent, which means I talked to them today. I hope to work with them. I think that Japanese line is amazing, but here's the thing. They did admit that they all work in different states and remotely, and that probably has something to do with why you are getting that mixed result type thing. Or
The people I talked to are no longer there.
You know what?
Right.
Like, last time we were at SHOT Show, we went there and they pretty much ignored me. Like, I don't know, I didn't get the warm welcome that I did this time. This time I go there and they're like, really, it's like total. Like, you know, when you go to a top quality restaurant, people are greeting you at the door. This was this time. People are like, hey, how you doing? And
I think they
shaking
changed
your
their
hand.
logo.
Last time it was two guys at a booth and they're like, yeah. I don't know what that was, but you know, they were great.
I don't really have anything bad to say about them because I didn't meet them previously. They were great to me today. They talked. Everything was great.
Yeah.
All right, so let's stop talking about $2,000 UTG and Blackhound scope, something I never thought I would actually say. And let's talk about something we all know and talk about, which is a $550 Arkin, the new Arkin EP5. So I think we all looked through it, or at least have experience with it. I will be honest, I got a warm welcome, which was a little surprising to me. And I had a really good conversation discussing my issues with Arkin. And I do have an Arkin EP5 coming my way, so we'll be able to do it. So your thoughts on the scope?
My thoughts on the scope is at that price point, it was one of the best scopes I've ever seen. I haven't tested it in the field. I haven't had one in my possession. So can I really do I have a very strong opinion? Not really, because I can't, give any proof to what I'm saying. But initial impressions were really good. I feel like the company is a bit stretched and worn out. Is the general impression I got, but they were extremely friendly and they were easy to talk to. I got the impression that they, well, I know they got really sold really quickly and they got really behind in orders, and it was kind of evident to see that like it's almost like they're strained.
They could never
see that
meet
they're
demand.
Right.
I think like we have an issue here that you created a product. If we, like we all know in the optics industry, it's like it's a race to how much internal adjustment you can have. It's a race to how much. Oh, let's put ED glass or HD glass in this, and those big ticket features they sell, and they brought it in at a price point that was like nobody came close, and that's why the SH4 was like back ordered. If you were to order it for a while there, it was like what 4 months, 5 months, I think, even at one point. Now I think it's back down to like 2 weeks,
which has certainly caused repercussions, I'm sure. Because not only have they had some QC issues probably as a result of that, and then also, if somebody's waiting that long, there's people that get pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I mean, they kind of, it's a good thing in a way, people like want this at this price, and the QC issues, like those are Gen 1, which they immediately discontinued. Like I got a Gen 1, they did have issues, I immediately got an SH, the Gen 2, thing was great, never had an issue with it. And I think I don't think there's necessarily that many QC issues like that. You see too much reported lately. There was more so in, I think, like.
Definitely with the first generation of products.
Yeah.
So I talked to Mike O'Reilly, and we had a long conversation about the QC inconsistency. I would say inconsistency rather than issues. So for example, so the scope that you have is the one that I did a review on, and then I had my own, and it felt a little bit different. And I think a lot of people also kind of report the same thing. But there's still, I mean, even at the price point, I mean, they're amazing values, and like you're not going to get that many features back. So that was kind of like my question. I think a lot of people often ask, well, how can you actually do that? What I didn't know is that unlike other companies, Arkin actually owns their production facility in China. And that way, and we're not going through a distributor model, we're not going through dealers, and that's how we're able to kind of keep the price down to more reasonable levels.
Yeah, because we know that on most optics, there's a really high markup. I mean, like most products in general, but optics, like, I guess from most companies, like, what is it? 40% from the company.
It's even higher.
So let's say you're paying like 40% or at least 40% more than what the store is actually paying.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, if you like, let's say $1,000 scope, about $400 of it is actually the dealer's commission that they're purchasing it from the price. Now, Derek, did you look at Arkin? I know you haven't done Arkin in the past, so I think this was your first experience with Arkin.
Yes.
Was it up to snuff, and is it something that you would consider?
It's something I would consider if I was gonna build somebody their first precision rifle, or like get them like an OEM, like a Savage Access Precision or something like that,
That's a good combination, I think.
and put the Arkin on it. Something if you're gonna put like make a $1,500 package, let's say. But is it something I'm gonna run? I don't know. Personally,
Yeah.
but it's not a bad deal for what it is. I don't have any field experience with the Arkin, just with what I did, and I did do a video with them on it. The reticle was nice. I will say I did like the reticle. The glass wasn't bad, but for the money, if you're getting into the precision rifle game, yeah, I guess it's not a bad choice to do if you want to look for something sub 600.
Right. So the difference with the EP5 versus the SH4 Gen 2, the EP5 basically it's the same concept, except we changed so one of the things that kind of gave them crap for in SH4 Gen 2 is that there's only 8 mils per rotation. They went up to 10. The front objective goes from 50 millimeter to 56, and the glass is now proper ED glass.
Yeah.
So it's 5 to 25.
And it's also 5 to 25 instead of 6 to 24. And we're doing it at $549, and that includes I think they're calling it the precision kit, which includes scope caps, bubble level, and a set of rings.
Yeah.
For that money. And the image quality was superb. You're not going to get anything better at that price point, bar none. So what the SH4 Gen 2 did, this is just an amazing upgrade to that, kind of how like the EP4 was. But even the EP4, which we played with at last SHOT Show, it was kind of like out for a bit, and then as soon as the SH4s came out, the EP4 just kind of like went bye-bye. Like no one, like they never restocked it.
Yeah.
So it's good to see the EP5. I mean, it's an amazing value. Now, there was one question, which was, how does one compares Arkin to the Blackhound Genesis 6024, similar price?
Blackhound has 5 mils per rotation on the turret, for one thing. The turrets, they're both fairly quite positive, but 5 and 8, I think, obviously mostly most time you're going to want more internal adjustment per revolution. Just because when you're dialing that far, it's just easier to go back as opposed to more rotation. It's just annoying with 5. It's still not a bad option, but in glass quality, I can't comment. You can comment on glass quality, but you haven't seen the Arkin out in the field, so it's tough comparison there. So I don't know if anybody can really comment.
I've shot competitively with the Blackhound.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I shot
With the Genesis.
With the Genesis, I shot a couple matches with it when it first came out. So it wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad, but I mean,
No.
like, for the money,
For
I
the
think
money.
there's a lot better options.
I mean, at the time, you had
Right.
Blackhound,
Yes.
Yeah,
and then
That's it.
just a couple months later, you had Arkin. So
Yeah.
it was like
that's true.
they're running head to head. I mean, they really are.
At the price point, but feature-wise, absolutely not.
There's
Okay.
also the Athlon Argos BTR
Yes.
that's in a similar category. That's not terrible. I think what are they on Gen 2
Gen
now?
2.
So the Gen 2 was quite a bit better than Gen 1. I had a Gen 1 and it was good. I think that Arkin does have a feature set and is better, probably, going off initial impressions. But there are people out there, in the internet world or YouTube that are saying like this glass is like top tier, and it's not. And that's not what it's meant to be in the Arkin, I don't think.
Yeah.
Just initially looking across
Most of them are coming SH4 or EP5.
I'm talking about the newest one, EP5.
Okay.
So like it's not top tier glass. It's not meant to be top tier glass.
It's Chinese,
but
glass.
the scope has a feature set in glass that's probably not beat in its price category, or not beat at all in its price category. But then you do have to take, and this is something we haven't talked about, they are still a newer company.
Yep.
So just like we are saying with the other scopes, it's do you choose a Vortex or something else where if something happens, it's always going to be replaced.
Mhm.
We don't know that yet. Although like they do own their own facility, so that you would think that they will stay in business and be able to stay in business for a long time.
For the Genesis line, yes, they own the facility, but they went to a different OEM manufacturer for the new lines.
Which kind of goes back to tell you, well, don't they have the expertise to do it themselves in house? But that's a different story. So somebody brought up the Burris XTR. So you guys weren't there for it, but I was.
I did play with the XTR Pro
Yes, were you there?
at FMT.
Okay, yes, he was there. So Burris and Beretta pulled out a shop show, but they still had a lounge. And while waiting for the tourist meeting, the Burris guys actually found me. So I got to play with the XTR Pro, which is kind of basically XTR 4, because they have the XTR 2, 3, and then this is the Pro. Newest American-made scope. I actually played with the scope back in August at Comp Expo when they had it at the event, and I was with Ilya, Dark Lord of Optics, and they were asking him for feedback on that scope before we go to full production. And for the money, it's a really, really nice scope. What I'll also say is they did show me a little something similar from Steiner, and holy shit! So the image quality it's basically going to be the same as the XTR Pro, how it all like a 5-30, but the turret system on here is like nothing you've seen before. It's almost like for dummies. So I really like the turret system on the Lupo Mark V HD because it kind of tells you what revolution you are and stuff. The turret system on the Steiner is incredible.
Yeah, he can't disclose what it is. I know I just got a Steiner T5 XI that has a turret that I've never seen before. Maybe there's other manufacturers, but basically the way the turret on that one works is you have little windows for your markings, and you can dial all the way up to its max, and it will literally go numerically and give you the numbers all the way up, and you never have to guess where you're at all, which I thought was absolutely fantastic and simple.
Yeah.
And I think Burris has been underrated a bit. I think they have some really good higher end products, and I've maybe heard other people say their customer service isn't good, but once I have a Burris Eliminator, which is a laser range finding scope, totally different thing, made for hunting, and it is huge and bulky. But the turret on the elevation cap, or the cap for the elevation cap, came off. I called them, they answered within less than 24 hours. 2 were at my doorstep for free. So that did impress me.
So I did have a discussion exactly on that topic. So Burris kind of has been, I mean, it's a long established brand, but they've been a smaller brand in the grand scheme of things, overlooked. Now you also have Beretta, who purchased them. So as a parent company, I mean, you have different layers, but the one big thing was it's like, hey, how do we actually get our name there to be bigger? Because they are overlooked. And I think that's why you also get a lot of really, really good value.
Yeah, I think Burris had some, like, they're one of those companies that had cheaper, affordable scopes, and I think maybe that clouded or gave them a cloudy name when it came to their high end, and then their high end was overlooked because maybe people didn't like their lower end stuff, but I think that's changed.
Well, and here's the thing though. So if you're one of those, if you're pro America, the Burris XTR Pro, it's made in the United States. Now I can't speak for future generation, but it's a US made scope.
And so is part of the Steiner line. The Steiner I got is made in the United States.
So I'm going to go back through the comments slightly in a little bit order, and we're going to start wrapping up. So,
Hold on, add something. Okay, Steiner is assembled in the United States, but the glass is German.
correct, yeah. So the components come from all over, but it is assembled in the United States with global components, generally German and Japanese. All right, so the new Burris has illumination like the XTR2, that has H591 now. So the new one has the SCR2 reticle, which is by far my favorite reticle. It's the same one that we have on the XTR3.
That's the
No, SCR3 or
it's the SCR3.
okay. The one we have, I think the one I looked at had a 2 in it. Might be a little bit different.
So when I looked at it,
Okay. Then they have to do different scopes there. By far my favorite reticle found on the Burris RT25. All right, so I'm gonna go through these questions.
you want to
Can you see the super chat?
I did see the super chat, so let me go through.
I'm gonna say this wrong. Go ask Pete from Impact Shooting what his opinion on that Burris XDR purpose.
Okay. Okay. So a couple of handgun questions that we do want to address. I know some of you were there for it, some are not. Thank you for the super chat, Harley. I definitely do appreciate it. That pays for a tiny portion of this trip.
But you'll have to share that money with us because we're here. Yeah. Celebrities on this channel.
Seriously, thank you very much for the super chat. It's greatly appreciated. So that new Keltec metal looks like it's made out of recycled beer cans. So in full disclosure, I have not played with that new Keltec, but I think Card Shark did.
Yes.
So come on here and just get behind us, tell us all about it. Come right here.
So
And I promise I won't grab your ass.
I didn't get to shoot it, but I did play with it at the Keltec booth. It felt very, very rough. The metal was okay. It was kind of like, yeah, it looked like cheaper metal.
So was Pop King.
It could be.
Worst.
Yeah, it just felt
Those recyclers.
not
I heard the Keltec Sub 2000 is made of pop bars. Is that true too?
It's aluminum. So most aluminum
No,
probably
the
is.
Sub 2000 is all polymer.
except for the
It is a lot.
it's mostly polymer. Yeah.
I think that's what Celtic kind of does. I mean, you really don't know. Celtic is not really known for like high thin finish and things like that.
But yeah, it didn't feel great. I didn't like the trigger on it, and I don't think it's going to be a well received gun.
Cool. All right, so there is another question on, so at Taurus, there were a bunch of new releases. I did a video on the Taurus G3C with no safety. Taurus also has the G3X, which is a full-size frame with that same G3C slide. And then from Heritage, they have this gun, which I think is just like stupid cool, which we're definitely going to get. And that is the Heritage Arms. I think the name of it is Space Cowboy. So it's a longer barrel. It has a fiber optic sight. It has threaded barrel, and it has a Picatinny rail on it.
Optic rail, yeah.
So it's cool. It's a heritage product. So it's kind of compete. Oh, and it has a bird's head.
There's one
grip.
with the bird's head, one without.
Very cool. And the price point was right around that same. Like
212, I think.
Okay, 212. So basically, street price about like 170, 180. But it could be really, really cool because I always wanted a suppressor revolver, so it's gonna be interesting to see how that does. Did anyone else play with it or no?
Not that one.
Okay,
I checked it out.
it doesn't do anything for you.
No, it was cool. I mean, it was different. It was definitely different when you looked at it from a different point of view.
So
We did joke with him to make one in the 16-inch barrel on it.
yeah, that would be cool. But once again, Mr. 338 22 long rifle doesn't do anything for him. But I think we all shot probably the largest caliber. Well, I guess not really. I guess the most expensive caliber we've shot because I think we all shot a bunch of 50s, 50 BMGs. No,
The range day.
no, just in general. Have you shot 50 BMG ever? No, Alex.
I don't think so.
Oh, you can't have them in Canada, right?
I did there recently.
Okay. You've shot 50s. I know you shot 50 BMGs.
Not on a ranked platform.
Okay.
On a mod use.
All right. So I guess like, am I the only one who shot 50 BMG? Okay. So enemy card shark did too. All right. So I guess the largest caliber you have shot, which was from a Canadian company. So let's start with Mr. Canada.
I mean, I heard about this new cartridge. It's called the 300 Win Mag. At 1,000, it's so much better than 6.5 Creedmoor. All right, guys, this we gotta hear it.
gosh, here we
If you had to choose one between these two cartridges for 900 yards, it's either the 300 Win Mag or the 6 Creedmoor. Leave it in the comments. We just want to see what you guys think. In heavy wind.
At
No,
sea level.
let them decide.
Okay. So we're gonna
But
do
it's
that.
not at sea level.
See, it doesn't
We just
matter.
gotta, who cares?
Please leave it in the comments.
All
My
right.
friend Derek needs to know the truth.
All right. So beyond that,
He does competitions, he knows.
I hope you lose your voice.
so beyond
I
that,
will be texting you about this tonight if I completely lose my voice.
Makes me the fuck
we got one with Mag.
Win Mag! Drew, you are the man.
All right. So Sixth Creed.
Drew, you don't have a
Yes,
chance to go
yeah.
to SHOT Show next year.
And heavy win.
In heavy wins.
900.
300 win makes the right answer.
We don't know if- yes,
Oh,
we
come
don't-
on. I am a Creedmoor fanboy, and I mean, even I don't believe that.
Okay. So we all shot the KDX 375 Shy Tech.
Jesus.
Okay, that's just to make you mad. All right.
So we know that you have a good sense of logic back there.
All right. 375 Shy Tech. Shot it.
Yes.
What'd you think? Fun?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fantastic.
You need
It's
it?
over. No, I don't need it. I don't need it. Who needs it, right? Like, unless you're doing
No,
ELR
you're-
competition.
If
If you're doing ELR competition, then yes, you could need it. But would
Why
I
would you
would I
not?
buy it? Do I want it? Yeah.
Why would you want something that would stop a fucking
I
match?
just said I wanted it. I just
We all
don't
want
need
it.
it. Need
Yeah.
and wants two different things. But I think that, like, for most people, they wouldn't need it. But yeah, do you want it? Is it fun? Is it thunderous? Is it thrilling? And does it just drill targets out there at, long range
Yeah.
ELR?
We shot
Absolutely.
it 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
What was that?
you don't have to worry about wind drift so much with that one in 1,000 yards.
Right. So here's kind of like my take on it. I think like it was all really cool. It was the first time I shot a 375. I've shot 50 cals in the past, but so if I just shot that 375 KDX on its own, I'd be like, oh my god, this is freaking awesome. I needed to shoot 1,000 yards. But immediately before then, the gun that I shot immediately prior to that was a 13-inch Untitled Precision 6.5 Creedmoor bolt action upper on an AR with a
I shot
suppressor,
that as well.
and we were drilling an 8-inch plate
Oh,
at 1,000 yards with a 13-inch pistol upper and 6.5 Creedmoor.
Yes, I shot the 22-inch 6.5 PRC.
Okay.
That was over at the Optics.
And we did that, and then Christensen had a 308. So I honestly, this is the
Yeah.
longest I ever shot a 308. It was like a
Yes.
24-inch lightweight
No,
gun.
it was a 20-inch.
20-inch.
It's 20-inch carbon fiber, carbon stock, Christensen arms. It was called it's the TR.
No, it's a tactic. It's
No,
like a
it's not.
no, it's like a precision like
It's a weird name.
force
It's a
multiplier.
It's a $4,500
Okay.
Christensen arm.
TFM. There's the
Yeah,
TFM.
yeah, yeah.
Tactical force multiplier.
Derek, you need to move up.
Yeah. Move up. So
Oh,
people-
And it was so that was actually on my bucket list, was to shoot a 308 at 1,000 yards, because that's something I've never done.
Yeah.
308. So I actually achieved that. And that was nice.
Yeah. So I said that was definitely cool. I mean, like I really want to, but like the fact that like if you're not getting your own ammo, it's like loading for 375 is stupid expensive. So it's like $8 a round every time you pull the trigger versus 6.5 Creedmoor. I mean you can buy it for about $1.50, and then you can load it for a lot less than that.
Depending on what market you're in.
So I think that's the only thing that kind of took away that goodness out of that gun. And I was really impressed with the Untitled Precision uppers. I mean, like I was like, these things were smooth, and I definitely want. I mean, it's almost like a Q fix for a lot less money.
See, quite honestly, they should have set up a steel plate on that 2,500 yard burn behind.
Okay.
For the, just for the 375. Yeah, for the 375, they should have.
But we all know that basically the vast majority of the shooters who are at media day have never actually shot at those distances, and like
Finding your target at that distance, people will be spending a lot of time just like searching. At least most of the anyway. Not all Derek's, not all competitive. Some of us just sit on the bench.
I really enjoy long range shooting. It's fun. There's a science to it, and it's enjoyable.
So we have so Drew says 6.5 Creedmoor to 1,000 yards out of a 13-inch barrel. Interesting. Yep. Another thing that was interesting, did you guys shoot the 8.6 Blackout?
No,
I did.
That was at the Faxon.
I did shoot the 6.8 Western.
Okay, so we'll come back to 6.8 Western, 8.6 Blackout, go.
Well, your knowledge base on it is way greater. Than
Okay.
mine. I kind of just
Well,
shot it.
what's your impression of it?
It's interesting.
Okay.
It's fun. Isn't it really designed for like music with a suppressor and shorter
It's a sub-
sight? I mean,
It's a subsonic.
right. I mean, from a hunting standpoint, I think if you were going to argue ethics, it's probably good for like 300 to 400 yards. But I don't really have a lot of. I don't have the knowledge base on it like you do.
Actually, you nailed it on the head. So the whole point of that cartridge is that it's a 300 Blackout, but with an effective range that's pushed back to 300 to 400 yards for hunting versus 100 versus 300 black, which basically it's going to be about 100 yards or so.
Right. So, I mean, like from a hog hunting standpoint, it would in most places you're not shooting longer than that. You want something that's going to shoot really quiet, do a good job killing a hog. Something I think that would be optimal for something along those lines.
And so they had this suppressor. It was stupid quiet. It almost like felt like shooting the 22.
Yeah, you couldn't really feel recoil or hear it. Like, I mean, I had an ear pro on either way, but like it was super, super silent. Yeah.
Are you talking about that 22? That was in the second booth right there.
And at the backs on barrels. At backs on barrels, they had an 8.6 blackout.
I think I actually have a clip on it. I think maybe I have a short.
I think we all do.
Okay. I might already have. Yeah, I do. It's you shooting it though. I did ask you that. I was like, hey, can I film this?
I don't even recall that.
Yeah, I have a short on my channel. It does give you credit of you shooting it.
Okay, I'll have to take a look at that. That's awesome. So I guess the other caliber was 6.8 Western, which I've never shot. I thought it was kind of like 6.5 PRC just by another company, but go ahead.
I was actually kind of excited to shoot the 6.8 Western because we did see a lot of them up in my area, of my part of the country, the big square states, as Slav would say. But the 6.8 Western was a redesigned cartridge off the 270 Wisdom. So with the way it was designed, it actually, the felt recoil was a lot more tolerable and enjoyable to shoot than the 270 short.
Is that out of this like a lighter weight gun, or is that?
I think that gun was maybe like 8.5, 9
Which one
pounds.
was
This at the Browning.
Browning? Okay, yeah. So I think most of our guns are like the lighter weight hunting
Yeah.
guns. I mean,
So it was a really nice cartridge, and it was pretty much a tack driver at 200 yards. So it was a really nice, enjoyable shooting rifle. And if I was going to build something or wanted to go buy something off the shelf right now for a hunting cartridge, I would actually really consider it.
I think
For
you were looking
yeah, I
at
would.
6.8 Western before.
We were saying that it continues to be in production, and like it could die.
Yeah, it could die. But as of right now,
yeah,
and
okay,
for some,
let's say yeah,
as of something right now, for a hunting cartridge, I would look at 6.8 Western. But we can revisit that next year with next SHOT Show.
I think it's undeniable that it's a good cartridge for Western hunters. I think that's true. Like you said though, will it last and will it be commercially available in the long run and stuff? That does matter. I think their luck on their introduction when they introduced it was, unfortunately, it was a terrible time to introduce it to the market.
And I still think it's going to be terrible later because they can't keep up demand of regular stuff. But you want to bring something new to the table, and something Eric wants to go on a hunt, and then he already shot all his stuff, and now they don't have any of this in the thing, but he's got a brand new gun.
Does that change if you hand load?
I don't know about reloading availability here, but for 6.8 Western in Canada, I don't even think one supplier
That's the thing.
6.5.
Over in Montana, where I live, 6.8 Western brass is readily available, the projectiles and all that stuff.
Only because it's not popular.
I don't. So, anyways, but coming up, I know you guys are having reloading from a factory standpoint, and which is most end users really. I think that it's actually been more available because not very many people had the rifle yet, right? So, in a strange way, it's actually been more available where I'm at on the shelves. That being said, you are limited to a very small selection of what you can buy for loads. But it's not a back. Time will tell. Time will tell whether it lasts and it sticks around.
It's still here, and it's a year later. They debuted it when we were out doing virtual SHOT Show last year. And let's see if it's here next year.
Let's say if it was a federal cartridge, I would say just don't even bother investing your money because they really haven't had a success keeping them. Because it's Winchester and Browning, I am more hopeful because kind of like how Hornady supports their calibers, I do hope that Winchester and Browning, they do. So it'll be good to see. It'll absolutely be good to see. All right, so we're kind of over our time limit, and obviously we're all going to do our own beyond this. We're going to have a ton of content. So let's wrap up with what you're guys most excited about once you come home that you found from SHOT Show, content you're going to be working on, or I guess what item you'll be really looking forward to getting from the stuff that you've done at SHOT Show. I guess we'll go back the other way if you're ready.
Yeah. One thing I was actually kind of excited for was It's an action company that came out of Canada called Pristine Technologies.
I was going to say that.
I,
Choose another one.
no,
Choose another
no,
one.
sorry, I got it.
Cut off.
You guys are
Go
so
away.
Okay.
But no, the action is actually really nice. The design on it. I want you guys to watch everybody's video because everybody has something a little bit different about it. But they're coming out with a short action, and they want to get into the hunting, the competition world, and it's different. The way that they they're pursuing it is completely different than every other action I've seen.
I would say, and I'm kind of a little bit contradictory to some of the stuff in the past. So I actually looked at a bunch of Turkish handguns this time around. So I still don't have high thoughts and expectations of these, simply because, I mean, the pure facts are in Turkey, there's gun enterprise zones where there's a lot of money being dumped into companies in order to produce handguns and actually firearms in general. And there are companies out there whose goal is just to dump as many guns as we can into the US market and make as much money without putting, I guess, quality control second to making money. There were 3 Turkish companies that I played with at SHOT Show. A friend of mine represents one of the companies, so I am going to be taking a look at. I think we're going to do like 2 or 3 different handguns they're going to send to me. And actually, one of them is a Turkish 1911, which I dear hope to God they have not ruined God's gift to Earth, the 1911. I really loved the 1911, but these actually felt really, really, really solid while shooting them at the range. So you'll be seeing more of that probably in the next couple of months, but I do have a video of us shooting them from the range, and that'll be out fairly soon. And, oh crap! How to forget Palmetto State Armory? Oh, so PSA came out with a bunch of new handguns, but of course there's no rush on those because we're not going to be out. Hopefully, we'll hopefully be out a little bit later this year. And how did freaking forget? So this is what happens. I think we all I filmed 40 videos. Derek filmed like 50 or something insane. These guys were working around the clock as well. Palmetto State Armory launched the Ruger 57. It looks like a Ruger 57. Palmetto State Armory launched the 57 Rock, which I guess the best way of describing it would be a Ruger 57 slide with a Palmetto State Armory dagger grip. But that's going to be a nice price option. So hopefully a little bit later this year we'll be playing with those guns as well.
Were you going to say the company for the Turkish guns?
No, not yet. Not yet. Because honestly, half of it I don't remember which exactly I keep confused. But SDS Imports is the importer.
Oh, yes, there was one of those.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. And
I know what it is if you want me to say it.
It's TISAS, right?
TISAS.
Yeah, TISAS. TISAS. Oh, we have a 10 millimeter. So if I get some 10 millimeter ammo, we'll take a look at that. I'm going to answer that question. Alex, go.
Thanks, Derek. You stole mine, so I'll have to briefly touch on that one.
Okay,
So
you're very much welcome.
basically in Canada, so I just about 10 days ago we released the fully Canadian, fully custom rifle. In the States, everybody and their mother makes an action. Everybody and their mother makes barrels. Everybody and their mother makes chassis. Now in Canada, previously you had Ultimatum Precision, the Deadline Action, and KMS something. I don't remember the last name. You had IBI barrels for the barrels. You had one other company for barrels. For chassis, you got NBT and you have KDEX. Those are like your options. Now, with this company coming to play, now we got 3 actions to work with. So I want to do more content on, or do some content on fully Canadian, fully custom rifles. Because, well, I mean, I'm getting more interested in that. It's really interesting and fun to see. Wow, we got another company coming into Canada to manufacture fine stuff. Like a lot of the time in Canada, stuff goes there and dies. But then you got companies, well, like NBT will do really, really well, like KDEX that are back ordered on some things 8 months. So some companies are doing really, really well. There's a lot of demand. So I'm really excited to see how they're going to fit in. So I'm really excited to do another build. Another interesting rifle that I saw at SHOT Show was actually by
Barrick or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was
It was very
pronounced. Something like that. So they actually have a pretty neat system. The action itself kind of reminds you of a Ruger RPR in the sense that it houses.
I'd say it's a combination of the RPR and like an Accuracy International, closer to an AIG, quick barrel change system.
That is something that's really, really cool. So like the one of the big things on this one is quick trip barrel change system. You don't need to be a gunsmith. You literally loosen, I think it was 4 little set screws.
4 torque screws, yeah.
And they're set in 10 Newton meters to inch pounds, something like
10
that.
or 2 meters, which I don't know what it is in American.
Yeah. So anyway, you basically slip the barrel out and that's it. And if you want to change a different caliber, so you could buy, let's say, a barrel and so it comes with a barrel in a bolt face. If you have a different barrel, a different bolt face for example, 6.5 PRC or 300 PRC or the cartridge that's better at 900 meters, such as the 300 Win Mag, obviously much better than 6.5 Creedmoor, Derek, you could just do that and buy a separate barrel and a separate bolt face. I think that's something that's really amazing.
Yeah,
they were saying,
I think the most amazing part is the price.
yeah, 2,100 they were saying. MSRP.
Yet to see delivered though. But yeah, amazing price point, awesome features. I definitely want one really bad. There were some cool things too, like you could adjust the trigger blade back and forth. So to just basically the length of the day you would have to pull the trigger.
And the price, the accuracy.
The accuracy guarantee was what, quarter MOA?
They guarantee the half MOA, but they said the rifles consistently shoot. No, I'm sorry, I think it's 3/8 MOA was the guarantee.
Yeah,
That's
it wasn't half.
Yeah, it was like
not something you see like on any other production.
And also the trigger guard, which I believe is on one other rifle or was, flips either way so that if you have heavy gloves on, something along those lines, you can actually you can remove the trigger guard. Essentially, it's on a hinge, flips either way. There was a couple other really unique things about that rifle. So really exciting product.
if it comes to the U.S.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think I think it's going to be more expensive. I think once they get into the boots and guns, it might be a bit more expensive, which is it's fine.
Well, I mean, I think that thing would be worth $3,000 easily.
That's kind of what I was thinking when I looked at it, and they told me that price. I'm thinking like, no way. We'll yet to see. I think that's one company you keep your eye on.
Yeah. And I think I've done a video on it. You did a video on it. Derek did a video on it. Sorry, Steve did a video. Derek, have you played with it or no?
No,
Okay.
Talking about that.
All right.
You missed out big time.
Go ahead, Mr. Bullets for Bucks, with
Yeah.
awesome merchandise. Okay, so if you love the swag and merchandise, you can be able to find it at the Bullet for Bucks store.
So, oh my goodness, what a busy week. I don't know if I filmed between probably 40 and 50 videos, a full length and then a bunch of shorts. But so tons of awesome products. I think coming more at it maybe from a hunting perspective, there's a new system. It's the Modern Hunting Rifle series by Christensen, which basically they came out with a new way of heat treating and I guess essentially kind of molding their carbon fiber. And so it's supposed to be lighter, stronger, and reduce more vibration all at the same time. But the biggest thing is that they're kind of switching a lot of their components that are on their older rifles to a newer version where they're going to have more carbon fiber instead of other components like maybe aluminum. And then they're going to have the system where you can swap out the buttstock, the grip, or the forend, basically in any combination, essentially, to go from buying one rifle and then being able to switch it to everything from a ultralight hunting rifle to a like PRS style or chassis style rifle, all in one system. So that was something kind of innovative. I'm hoping to get one and do some reviews on it. And then also, Fierce brought their manufacturing to the United States now, which is interesting. And then they also have the Fierce Rage, I believe is what it was, which is a new version. And I have a short out on it right now on the channel, and then I'll be coming out with a full-length video on it. And probably the biggest project of the year is I'm planning on basically getting almost every rifle in the $2,000 to $3,000 price class and doing videos on each of them individually and then comparing them to each other. So that should be fun.
All right. So,
You sip your tea like this.
No, I'm not.
All right.
Mr. Fancy's going to buy all these guns.
Well, hopefully I get some on for free.
Correct. You will disclose it. All right. So we're going to take the final question, which is for Mr. Canada here. and then we'll wrap up with where people can find your channel. So, Alex, did you ever check into the long shot target camera systems?
Okay, GTM. Yes, they actually sent one out to try on the channel. I have been using it for about 4 months now. I haven't published a review on it. So far, I'm thinking this is pretty darn good. It like from where I started as a channel, I've kind of realized you've got to spend money to save some money, which kind of is almost contradictory. But when you're shooting really long range or extreme long range, spotting your misses isn't always possible. Even if you have the best muzzle brake, all that stuff, the heaviest gun. Having a camera system downrange that has lag, I say yes, lag. They probably didn't intentionally put lag in their system, but I take the shot, I try to spot my own miss or hit, don't see it. I check out my phone, 1, 2, 3, I'm just like 3 feet to the right and a bit up. And so I think that's really like a big step up in terms of being able to land hits on target when you normally wouldn't be able to. Even like a spotting scope, people use those all the time, but they're really dependent on lighting conditions. If it's too bright, seeing your hits, even your misses at like 750 yards or 1,000, it ain't gonna happen. So this, I think, really solves that problem. And I think they're going to see a lot of success. I think what they have is almost a commercial product for companies. And like it performs so well. And the batteries last a long time. So one thing I was worried about, because it's a minus 15 Celsius, which is about 15 degrees in Fahrenheit.
No, less than it's 0.
Is it? Okay. So sorry, something like that. I left it up half a day, so about 4.5 hours out in minus 15, and it still had 2 lights on. It has 4 lights, so it was about around 50% or somewhere. So absolutely has good battery life.
Awesome. All right. So tell us where people can find you and when you're going to have your SHOT Show content coming up.
Well, yeah. So you can find me on YouTube, a Bullets for Bucks, all one word with the number 4 instead of the word 4 in it. You can find me on Instagram, but I don't use Instagram a whole lot, and Facebook.
And definitely don't look for him on TikTok.
My TikTok is for fun.
Oh, no.
No, there's actually right now there's a bunch of like little shorts of talking animals that say funny stuff about hunting. It's actually pretty funny stuff. But anyways, aside from that, now you got me pulled off where I was thinking.
I'm sorry. And
So I'm coming out. I have maybe 20 shorts already from SHOT Show on the channel. And then I will be hammering out content, and hopefully we'll have some out within days or a week. And then it will hopefully be several a week from SHOT Show, especially the hottest stuff first.
Alex?
You can find me at Affordable Optics and Rifle Reviews. Yeah. We do have a group also on Facebook. You can just Google it. There's a page and a group. You can feel free to join. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
And content-wise? I want some SHOT Show videos when you're going to be releasing them to YouTube.
I'll be punching those out the next 3 weeks, so that's what you can expect to see on my channel. Okay. I'm losing my voice, okay, Stephen?
Well, you were joking with me, son.
I know.
I feel like you need to step back and stop joking with me.
Why? Are you getting offended?
I'm getting offended. And, yeah.
But it's okay. The good news is Canada's going to go to a safe space soon.
Isn't that the whole country?
That is essentially a safe space.
Well, it's safe because we have all the measures, to protect us from what's out there, and you guys don't here.
Unless you're United States.
As a refugee.
As a refugee.
So yeah, if I'm stuck
if you want to sponsor his visa, you'll be really, really grateful for that.
Eternally grateful.
All right, so you already found the channel, and we'll have probably 2 or 3 SHOT Show videos a week for the next couple of months. I'm not one of those people. I'm not gonna let it all out in one side.
Where can people find you?
In Vegas, right here. The show is only going to be here for an extra day. Derek?
You can find me at Northwest Guns on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Odyssey.
Okay. And in about half an hour, you'll be able to find us eating sushi, all you can eat stuff. And
we're going to try a new spot this time. My taxi cab driver is looking at a better place.
And you can have all you can eat mochi ice cream. $30.
Oh my God! Stop it! I'll pay for your stupid $30.
All right. So dinner's on Alex. As always, thank you guys for watching.
He's gonna sponsor my visa, so it's okay.
All right, I'm gonna stop the screen. I'm gonna stop the screen before it gets too crazy. As always, thank you guys for watching. Keep on squatting, and we'll see you in the next video.